So could you please tell me your name and some about your family?
My name is Julia. I have a husband. His name is Stanislav, and I have a son. He's over there.
And how old is your son?
My son is 9.
Okay. So I'm recording this so that I can play it for specific people in the United States who are committed to Ukraine, who are committed to praying, who are committed to helping financially. What would you want them to know about your displacement and your trip here to the West?
Yeah, everything was very complicated. All the way until the end, we were not sure if we had to leave or stay. Our mayor insisted on that. We have a special needs child. So they asked us, so the local authorities asked us to be evacuated, so we did. The trip was very difficult. We were stopped several times. We heard air sirens, we heard missile strikes. So it's, so to say, it's very noisy in the east. So actually she's talking about the number of missile strikes. Our parents don't want to leave our hometown. This is our hometown. This is our hometown, and the occupation is all around it. This is our town. So it's almost encircled. So if we know, we're next to Horlivka. It's Donetsk region. This is the husband. Slavik. Stanislav.
Stanislav?
Yeah.
Tony?
Tony?
Nice to meet you.
Ми знімаємо невеличке інтерв'ю. От. Вибиті вікна. As of now, if we're talking about my house, only the windows have been shattered. Almost the whole town has been evacuated. Everything is closed. All the infrastructure is not working. And it's dreadful there. And I guess we have nowhere to come back to.
Okay.
Okay. The place where we lived in was labeled the red zone. Why the red zone? Because our territory bordered with the so-called Luhansk People's Republic. So the territory where Russian-backed separatists took hold of. Right, and we, during all these 8 years, you know, that the war with Russia started actually in 2014. So we've had a bunch of limitations in our area because of the shelling. So, for example, we had the curfew because of the shelling. We had, for example, our rights were limited to a certain extent. We couldn't go to church. So this was instituted for the reasons of security by the local Ukrainian authorities. I can say that shelling has been quite frequent from the territory of the Russian-backed separatists, and they try to aim at civil infrastructure.
Коли були жертви серед мирного населення, були також і діти.
When there were victims amongst our civilians, we had dead children as well.
Все это, фиксировалось.
Everything was recorded.
Приезжала ОБСЕ.
We had United Nations organization members coming to also record what's been done, to transfer all the information to the international court.
І так було всі ці 8 років.
That's what's been like all this 8 years.
До цього 24-го.
Until the 24th of February.
До цієї війни. Всі ми, коли вибирали президента, ми...
When the presidential elections were taking place, we all voted for Zelensky as he said he would fix that situation with the Russian-backed separatist territories.
Як ми не знали.
We didn't know how he would do it, of course.
Сталося, як сталося.
It happened what happened.
З ними тяжело, і ми...
It's hard to do business with those people.
Потім почалась, скажімо, повномасштабна війна.
So the full-scale war happened then.
Я пам'ятаю той день, коли...
I remember the day when...
Було рано утром, с полпятого, да.
It was early in the morning, like approximately 4:30 in the morning.
Мы всегда чули эти удары, ну, как?
Well, actually, we heard those airstrikes all the time.
Сам иммунитет у нас был, не то привычка, я не знаю, как это
We kind of got immune to them.
данных. А в это время мы почувствовали, что да, действительно что-то покрупнее.
But then we felt that something much heavier,
220-й мы так уже знали, 250-е.
much heavier was in use. So heavier weapons were being used to shell the city. First of all, why are we here? Ukraine is at war with Russia. A lot of people are dying. There's a lot of suffering, tears, and blood. Well, we're doing our best to help those in need. First of all, we have prayer services, so of course we're not oblivious of the spiritual warfare. So we do 3 prayer services per day. Now, in terms of the humanitarian aid, we've got a humanitarian hub organized in our church. So our pastor is involved in organizing contacts of people who can help us with food. Our people need food, and of course they also need clothes and medical supplies. So by the grace of God, God's given our pastors some context in Poland specifically and in Hungary, and they delivered trucks with humanitarian aid to the border. Then they were unloaded there, then loaded onto our Ukrainian trucks delivered here. We've got a warehouse that's not the big one, that's just a small warehouse in the church. We're right now in the church, actually not far from the sanctuary where we get together on Sunday morning to pray to God and worship Him. So there's a warehouse, but again, by the grace of God, we rent it for free. There's a company that sells tiles, and now we're using their warehouse with their forklifts and personnel. Thank God for that. Part of the humanitarian aid that is delivered to that warehouse is brought here, where we have smaller trucks, vans and just cars, to be packed with everything they need, and then they're sent all the way to the east. So we've got a map here, if you can have a short look. So this is Lviv, this is where we're now, right now, and there are several hotspots that we've already delivered humanitarian aid to. So of course this is Kiev, Mykolaiv over here. We've got Kharkiv and Popasna. All these are hotspots. There were lots of people in that part of Ukraine who have fled the east of Ukraine to the west. If you're interested in what's the stuff that people need, well, first of all, you need to realize that fuel is one of the topmost needs. Why? Because we've got the humanitarian aid, but we don't have the fuel, right? And for us to get the fuel, we need to have a lot of money. So just as an example, to get from Lviv to Kharkiv, to get a truck of humanitarian aid would cost us $800. That's round trip fuel cost, $800. Right, and that's a lot of money for Ukrainians. That's a lot of money for people who have, $300 of monthly, salary, on average or something like that. What you see is our pulpit. Right, that's the place where the gospel of God is preached. Right there, it says Christ is risen in red. And if you turn around, you see a camouflage net, a masking net as we call it. See, right here in the sanctuary, that's where we worship God. We've got a brother at our church who is dedicating himself to weaving these camouflage nets. Here's what we pray for. We pray that God Himself would cover those who are covered with these nets. That's what we pray for.
Air raids. Carry on for a little while. Said air raid warning. People just kind of carry on for a little while, right?
Yeah, it takes 20 minutes for the rockets to arrive.
Yeah. How old are you? And then what were you doing before the war?
Скільки тобі років, що ти робив? 20. The war started in 2014. That's when Russia invaded Ukraine. I was just a 6th grade school student. Now I'm 20 years old, and I'm a 2nd year university student at the Kharkiv University.
Я вже двічі переселенець.
I've been
Перший раз.
dislocated twice. So first of all, my hometown is Makivka. Then I was dislocated to Slovyansk, and then afterwards to Lviv.
Сюди.
How long was your journey when you came? How long did that take? Was it difficult?
So it took me approximately 24 hours to get here from Slovyansk.
Їхав сидячи.
So I was actually on a bus. So I took a bus ride, and it was not really comfortable. 24 hours being seated. Right. There was only one stopover in Uman where we spent the night. After, my goal is to finish my professional training, learn a trade, and start working.
Okay. So how can we all be praying for you and
So
tell everybody else to pray for you too?
За мудрість.
Please pray for my wisdom
Like
to
Solomon.
to make smart decisions in everything.
That is wise. So these are all mobile home buildings where folks are living from the east in little neighborhoods here. Each one has a little town square, and the government comes out a couple days a week to provide food as well.
А Романа хтось має номер? А?
So tell him he can just look at my eyes and the camera will be
Ви
fine.
просто можете дивитися мені в очі, і камера буде знімати.
I just can't nod because it does this.
Я не можу ухиляти головою, тому
Добре,
що
добре,
там
добре.
камера.
Я є Адріан Буковинський,
Hello, my name is Adrian Bukovinsky.
доктор філософії.
I'm a philosophy doctor. February 24, the full-scale war started in Ukraine.
Моя основна робота була зупинена.
So my main work was stopped.
І
3 months
разом з церквою
already. I'm
Гексиманія
volunteering together with Gethsemane Church. For this period, we had only more than 100 tons of supplies, and where we separate to the different parts of Ukraine and send it there. Our priority is Kharkiv,
Миколаїв,
Mykolaiv,
Київ.
Kyiv, and to the different places where refugees are.
Вже 2,5 місяці іде війна.
2.5 months as the war is going.
Допомагають Україні.
People and different organizations all over the Europe is helping Ukraine. They get tired emotionally and financially. The war came less. The problems there are growing.
Які розуміють ті моменти
That God will bless those people who understand this moment.
і будуть допомагати з
And
інших
they
місць.
will help from the other places.
І
The
життя.
first country in the world that sharing and caring is the very important part of their lives. Because United States is following 2 commandments, love God and love your neighbor. This is the foundation.
Тому вона така благословенна.
That's why the country is blessed. In America, you have national breakfast, Christian breakfast with president.
Yeah.
Every year we used to attend this
Ми
morning.
знайомі з
And we also started near 100 this breakfast ministries in Ukraine.
So what do you need the most right now?
First, how we help is food. So this is the pallet.
Приблизно коштує $1000.
It costs near $1,000.
Палета.
One truck fits 33 pallets.
Ставку.
And we also need money or from
Франція.
Poland, from France, from Hungary. This is the straight finance what we need. Buy these supplies and take.
Або ми можемо отримувати фінансову допомогу і закуповувати її за оптовими цінами в
And
Польщі
we are buying this in Poland
і привозити сюди.
and we drive it here.
Okay.
That's why we have different
Наші фонди,
foundations, our
які
foundations
приймають офіційно ті
that
пожертви,
officially take offerings. They give the reports. For these 3 months, I haven't received even $1, but I know that this time is for ministry.
І так працює ціла країна,
And that's how the whole country works.
і Україну ніхто не переможе.
Ukraine will not be defeated.
And here's our shelter in case of an air siren, or God forbid, actual missile strikes. We can go down here. We've got a basement here. Watch your step. Yeah, we've got some benches here. All right, so, well, it can hold approximately 30 people in here. We got 2 compartments here, over here. And there's even, you know, it's dark in here, but there's a little corridor here with thick concrete ceiling. All right. So there.
More to go anywhere, or is it just a?
Yeah, it's just a, yeah. Well, it's a corridor which goes down to a dead end. Right, there's a dead end, like it's about approximately 5 meters long. Okay. Right, yeah, but it's just it got thick.
In there.
Yeah, it's got the thickest ceiling. Right, so that's our shelter. All right, we're sitting next to those boxes with basically pills for civil use and all that stuff, but here are some things that we need for military use. Number one thing is the so-called bleed stop. I know it's an expensive thing, but that's what our soldiers need the most. So it's, you know, that substance stops bleeding and it can save lives, and it does it in seconds. And we don't have much of those, and we need a lot. We need a lot. That's number one. Number two, it's portable surgical light. That's what the medics from the battlefield have asked us. And thing number three, it's the so-called dermatome, which is just a skin grafting tool. You know, for example, when you take donor skin and try to apply it to the wounded parts. So 3 things: bleed stop, portable surgical light, and skin grafting device is called dermatome.
All right, thank you.